So Happy Face is a true crime drama. It's about Melissa Reid, inspired by the true life story of Melissa Moore. But our Melissa Reid, she starts out in hiding. No one really knows who she is, but it turns out that her father is a serial killer called the Happy Face Killer. And when he kind of inserts himself into her life by confessing to a ninth murder, she's pulled back into his web and kind of has to face her father and face her past in order to solve this murder mystery and kind of come into her own. I just listened to the podcast like everyone else, just on my way to work, driving. I was writing on Your Honor at the time, and I listened to the first episode and I was just really moved. And, it just struck me, I've listened to all the true crime podcasts and, bit of a true crime junkie, but I really had never seen a show like this, which really looks at, the life of a serial killer, but through the lens of a daughter and of a family. And, the show, we're not depicting any violence. We're not showing any of the crimes. It's, a serial killer show with no violence, and that was always my intention, um, because it's much more about the trauma and the generational effects of these kinds of crimes. So I was interested in something I hadn't seen before, and I thought it'd be a new twist on an old genre.
The reason why I wanted to tell my story is that I felt alone because, we don't really hear about serial killers' families. We see serial killer documentaries and it really focuses on the offender, but there's a lot of other people affected by a criminal. And a group of people that are affected are the perpetrators' families. And then also we know about the victims' families, but I just never felt seen in any true crime films. And so for me, it was really important to put my story out there to connect with other families.
Melissa is a wonderful human who um I think what's so extraordinary about her story is that she has used this horrible event and act of trauma in her own life and um I think really created an act of service in her own life to give to others. So she's made something bad, something good. I said earlier today, I realized um, it's the wrong that she's trying to make right, and it's a wrong that can't be made right, but she's doing everything she can to again act as an in service of others. So I think that's the thread of her narrative and her mission in life that I think is so beautiful, and it makes for incredible television. But what is most incredible is that it's real.
That's really what the base of the story is for my character, Keith Jesperson. That he's a dad trying to reconnect with his daughter. Only he was a serial killer. He was in the 90s. He killed 8 women in 5 years, and he had a very loving relationship with his daughter, uh, who had only plays. And then she was 15 when she found out that he was had committed done all these horrible things. And how do you reconcile that, you know, with this loving dad that you had? There's that biological bond there that you'll never get over in one way, because the brain keeps trying to make it right, but it just won't fit. Like what she said, a wrong that cannot be righted. And it's I love that it's a true story, and that's the thing that makes it different from the story of any other serial killer that's out there. This is really about relationship uh, that they have, and it's also about all the victims. Her family and how it had affected her, and the families of the victims, and how they are affected with each one of these horrific crimes. There are countless victims that reverberate out from it.
Yeah, I think this is a good one for Jimmy because his character had to really navigate the waters of that uncomfortable marriage moment.
It's interesting. As Dennis, as you were talking, you said the word relationship, and I think as a human, it's all about relationships: the relationship to yourself, the relationship to your spouse, the relationship to your children, and I think that's what this show explores, and how this event and this set of circumstances reverberates out and affects everyone. And so I play Ben. I play Melissa's husband, and he is heartbroken for her, and he loves her, and he wants to save her, and at the same time understands that she loves this man, uh, or seemingly loves this man despite what he's done. So for me, coming into the role, it was just about listening to the podcast, understanding Melissa's journey, and allowing that to kind of seep into myself as I prepared each day for set. But it's a complicated thing, and Melissa, you can probably speak to this even more. But it's a complicated thing, I think, and that's the interesting thing about the show is it affects everybody.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to true crime, it feels like a lot of people are so interested in it because they're trying to understand the mind of killers. They're trying to understand the fear of the unknown. They're trying to understand the thing that can lean so much into the extreme, into the evil, and I guess it makes a lot of people feel better when they see the person and say, okay, what is their journey? But I think what is so amazing between the relationship with Ivy and Melissa is that Ivy understands that this is a job. This is what people want to see. There's profit here. There's a market here, but there is so much more to it. There is healing here. And she's worked with her for so long, and to understand this, it's like, okay, we can sit here and potentially make it into a show, but there is some healing here. He killed someone. You can either sit back and allow it to happen, or you could take this and empower yourself with it. And of course it is manipulating in its own way, but what does that mean for her? She can see it as an opportunity, and I think Melissa did that as well. And we get to see that. We get to see Melissa empower herself by confronting her trauma, by confronting her fears, by confronting the thing that she has put a face over and said, "This is my life. This is the life that I want to live." But to truly be herself, to truly stand in herself, she has to confront that. I love in one of the interviews that we just had earlier today, you were like, what is it called? Can't remember. But yeah, just stepping into your own and being able to heal from all of these things. And I think Ivy kind of helps support her in that by kind of confronting a lot of her blind spots, and is like, I know you want to do this and you're afraid, but it's so much bigger than you. I know you want to do this, but again, I know you're trying to hide from it, but you have to show up. You go ahead and talk. You do this. I think there's been a caring side where it's like, in order for you to heal, you have to do the thing that's scaring you. And I'm not going to comfort you or sugarcoat things for you, but I'm going to support you here by doing my job. And you see that. You see Melissa from the beginning being nervous about who she really is, and then standing in who she is at the end, and you see her blossom. It's amazing. You're amazing.